Hey, welcome to Band Advice TV. I hope everybody's doing well. I am your co-host, Mark Allen V, and
I'm
you
Matt
are.
Mason. How y'all doing?
Hey, man, how you doing, man? It's been a long time.
What a crazy world we're living in now.
Yeah, there's no kidding. Wow is about all I can say. So we were here just a couple of weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, talking with Scott Evans, and you guys were shooting the breeze about, your strategy when you're at your gigs. You got your CD table set up, and it's kind of the honor system and all that kind of stuff, and how you find that, having that physical CD to sell at the gigs is really the way to go. Boy, that's off the table now. Holy cow.
Man.
3 weeks and the entire world has changed. I tell you, man, the music industry, I don't think has seen an upheaval like this since probably Napster and the invention of the MP3. It's just insane. And, geez, no more gigging. What are you doing? Because I know you're a gigging musician, man. What do you do?
I mean, it's terrible, man. I'm just like, I lost a bunch of work in March, of course, session work and gigs around Austin. When they canceled South by, I was kind of getting a little scared then.
Right.
I was like, oh, no. Okay, so I lost out on that. We went ahead and played on St. Patrick's Day, which was, I thought, kind of against my better judgment, because, it was like the first time I was played at this place. Took me 7 years to get this gig.
Oh, man.
So the first time we're supposed to play is, state of emergency, national pandemic, and I'm like,
wow, it sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? I think we ran into that in 9/11, didn't we?
Yeah, and I think about that all the time. I'm like, we should have canceled. We should have canceled because, and so I had a talk with the owner of this establishment, and I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here. This is kind of serious. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Nobody really knows, but it's better to err on the side of caution, I'd say. And so, we went ahead and did it. I didn't want to do it, but I knew it might be my last money for a while.
Right.
And so, thankfully, the Red Dirt Musicians Relief Fund, they immediately put out $50,000 for everybody.
That's great.
Yeah, and then I think, what's the big philanthropist in Tulsa? They matched it, I think. So they've given away about $100,000. So
wow,
about 300 of it. So everybody got $250 right off the bat, which really helped. I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do, man. I mean,
sure.
I had 2 gigs that following week in Austin, plus the session work, which I thought, all right, I can pay my phone bill and get a good heads up on the mortgage with that. Poof, it's gone.
Oh, man, yeah.
I'm like, geez. So they really came through in a big way. That's such a great organization. They just help us whenever we need it. It's great. They
you give back to them too, because you go out there, you give back to them too, don't you? You go out there and do a lot of live performances and stuff to help them.
Oh yeah, well, see, they have a couple of different big festivals every year, and so I usually play one of those at least, and then they have this like Giving Tuesday around Thanksgiving where everybody gets online and does a 30 minutes or whatever, and they try to get people to donate to the Red Dirt Musicians Relief Fund through that.
Okay.
So I'm always trying to. I told them, I was like, hey, whenever you need me, want me, whatever, I'm down with it. You guys do a great thing. It's just like an angel,
Sure.
Comes to your rescue.
Because you had a kind of tap them before too when you had that big accident and busted up your leg and all that, didn't you?
Yeah, they helped me then. They helped me when I got burnt.
Oh, that's right.
They sent Ace's girlfriend some money when he passed. They've been very, very, very kind to me and my boys.
That's nice. It's great.
So
musicians sticking together.
Yeah, I just try to do everything I can to help out.
Awesome.
It's just like when you're out there on the gig economy, it's like the bartenders and the wait staff and the beer truck driver. I mean, god dang, this is just affecting everybody, man.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's got this huge trickle down because it's not just the bar itself or not just the musician. It's everything from even the guy that's comes in to mop the floors. It's like, geez,
yeah, it's I'm kind of worried about what could happen. Everybody's been pretty okay so far, but some people get in there and I see how they act when there's one more Snickers bar and there's 10 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could just
Did you
get
stock
worse.
Up on your toilet paper? I mean,
living out here, I always try to keep supplies like that sort of stocked up,
Sure.
Basically like, the idea of, hey, just keep a little supply of soap on hand and bleach and toilet paper and, just anything that you think that you might run out of. And I mean, there's been times out here I've been snowed in for, 10 days or whatever.
Wow. Okay.
So, I kind of try to watch stuff like that and make sure I've always got something on hand,
Sure. Yeah,
but even so, I went
being a good Boy
for good
Scout,
measure. Yeah, that's right, man. That's exactly true. Even so, I think I went I went that Thursday night before, like when things were really getting crazy. I went and met this guy and sold a guitar to him. Then I went and bought a couple packs of toilet paper.
There you go.
Few things, So I've been doing okay, but still, it's just like, when am I going to be able to get back to making some money? That's the bad part about it.
Man, that's I can't even imagine. It's like your lifeline suddenly cut off. And I know a lot of your contemporaries are out there right now doing live shows. Brandon Clark, who used to always play down at Mercury Lounge, had a Sunday service there. He's now gone online with that, with the social distancing. Tickle in the throat. I'm okay. Don't worry. So, but he's got the PayPal and all that stuff set up, and people are sending him tips and stuff. So, and I'm seeing more and more musicians doing that, especially the ones that are the gigging musicians and stuff. So, I mean, I think that's great for now, but is it sustainable? I don't know. You're going to try that this week, aren't you?
Man, I mean, I put that one video up there yesterday, and I got a few people that threw in, and I was real, I was real calm about it. It wasn't like, the cyber begging thing is tricky.
Yeah.
And it's not begging. It's like, look, my life has now changed to this is the way I can interact with people and communicate with people and provide them some enjoyment with music. And now it's like, it's relegated to a dang phone screen holding in their hand,
Yeah, but you and I are from the generation where we worked hard to earn our money. And nowadays, like you said, the cyber begging, everybody, they stub their toe and they got a GoFundMe account set up. And people chip into it. It's like, I don't understand that mentality. Oh, I'm so sorry that you got yourself in $50,000 of credit card debt, but why is it my responsibility to... I don't know. It's just,
it's like
I'm the kind of person. It's like, I work hard and I don't ask for handouts unless, I really need it, and it'll do my damnedest to get it paid back or at least make it right.
Sure. And I'm the same way, man. I mean, I've been working at this for a long time, and I feel like, people, they know they're kind of getting a little bit more of a picture about what it's like to be, a professional musician or somebody that's relying on the gig economy, and it's like, I think that, that's cool in a way, but in the other way, I got the practice PA in here all strung up the other day again, and I put on some music through these 218s and a horn I've got, and it's just like, there's just no excuse. There's no substitute for music coming through speakers like that. Sitting here on my phone holding this is like, okay, but there's nothing like the real thing,
Sure. Maybe a long time before we see that again, though.
Man, I just got to think a lot of these places aren't going to open up. I mean, they're just not going to open back up.
I think a lot of people, once they get used to the stay at home and the fact that they'll find their entertainment and things can be delivered to them, I think you're going to see a whole generation of hermits. I mean, We already got that. You know, the younger generation now, they just stay at home and look at their phones anyway. Now we're giving them an excuse to do it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, but the entertainment, man, it's all going online, and you know, we've kind of seen it coming, but this is really making it real now.
Yeah, this is like George Jetson type stuff, you know?
exactly. And you know, shoot, 20 years ago, oh crap. Technology. I have headphones in, and I'm not cutting that out either. I'm leaving that in there because this is what our world is these days. Is all of us tooling around trying to get this technology to work. And like I was just saying, 20 years ago, the idea of even having video conferencing or, you know, a video phone was so foreign, and now it's common. And that Garth Brooks and his wife Trish Yearwood, they just did this whole concert online, and now they got a CBS special coming out of it, and they're going to raise a lot of money doing that, which is awesome. But
yeah,
this is the world that it's content. It's what you and I've been preaching about this whole last year. It's like generating content. So let me ask you this. You know, when we left off last, you're kind of of the opinion too. It's like, you know, I like to put out that CD. I want to go ahead and, you know, get it pressed and have something in their hands. Where I was kind of like, maybe not. Maybe you should just put out a song or two every month. What are you looking at now? Where do you stand on that now?
Well, I think that, like, you know, CD manufacture is cheap enough still that, like, for the super fan, they may have a 2008 Dodge Dakota that has a CD player in it.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, if they're 48 years old, chances are good they might be interested in a CD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you know, like in the old days, I mean, when I first started pressing CDs, I mean, it was like you had to get 500 or 1,000 of them. And,
right.
You know, the 1,000 was like half the price of the 500.
Sure.
You know, the 500 CDs might have been $1,000, but 1,000 CDs was $1,000.
Exactly. You know? It was a whole lot of difference between the 500 and the 1,000, so it's more cost effective to go with the 1,000.
And so now it's like, okay, that last record that I did, I got 100 of them printed up for $120.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shipped here to me. But I still think it's just a combination of like physical product and online access and ease of access.
Right.
And they don't necessarily need to own any of it. Like a lot of them, I don't think that's not in their psyche of somebody who's 30 and under. They don't feel like they have to own any of it. As long as they can access it, that's good enough for them.
Right.
And so the trick is trying to figure out, well, how do we get them to access this, and how do we get them to compensate us for this, you know?
Well, that's true, and especially when you've got, you know, the big companies, they're still not playing nicely with the streaming royalties. And, you know, now that we have this next set of royalties with the Sound Exchange, and it's actually collecting performance royalties for the recording artists, which we've never had that before, we're still not getting a whole lot of royalties. I mean, Good Day, half a penny on Spotify. Now, when we went to the CD Baby thing, though, they said that the royalty rate was supposed to jump up. I haven't seen it.
It hasn't. I read somewhere where those majors are getting like 1 million streams an hour.
Oh, it's insane because they're tapping all the markets. Of course, you got the Pandora, you got Spotify, and all those Apple Music, and then you got the YouTube channels. You know, they go in there and they're very protective about the YouTube channels. That's what the whole Vivo thing was about. That was put together by Warner Brothers and a couple of record companies got together. Says we're going to create this powerhouse around YouTube videos, and we're going to get all of our stuff together, and it's, you know, they just did this conglomerate YouTube channel kind of situation. And so, yeah, it's just they're constantly getting, and it's a numbers game. If you're getting 1 million streams an hour, that half a penny goes a long way then. When you're getting a couple streams a day, man, that hurts.
Well, like I said, man, I looked at my royalty statement when we went down there, and it was 60-some pages long, and my total account balance was 18 cents.
That's insane.
the 60 pages was line by line of, Apple Music, iTunes Europe, and there was streams, there was plays, there was all kinds of stuff in there, but the whole balance was 18 cents. That's why I hadn't gotten any kind of, disbursement from them in quite a while. Cause I got it set to where it's like when it gets up to $20, they send me a deposit to my bank. Well, I kind of wondered and I looked and I was like, well, why is this only 18 cents? There's 60 pages worth of royalty statement here. Well, I guess it's like the CD, the album, the recorded music is just kind of like your expensive business card anymore, And now that the live thing has been taken away, even the big guys are having trouble.
Right.
They're like, hey, here's a limited edition line of merch to keep my crew working. We were supposed to be in Europe right now. And, if you're any kind of size nationally known act, let's say you've got 30 people traveling with you, doing sound, doing the rigging, doing the wardrobe, doing the teching, doing the promotion, doing all that stuff. Those people are out of work too, Well,
we were talking about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It just kind of cut the legs out of just everything in the music industry. It's like, well, how do you make money at it now?
Yeah. Well, you and Scott were talking. No, I'm sorry. You and Jeff were talking about that when he was over here doing that podcast for Weird Tulsa Music. You're talking about Dick Dale and how old is he? And he was still out there doing it.
Oh, he was like, I think probably up in his 70s when he passed, and he was touring till weeks before he died.
Yeah, and you said that he had to. That's just his life, and he had to, and that's the way he made his money. He wasn't selling records. It was like he was a touring musician. And now we're seeing, Joe Diffie, touring musician. He was probably out on the road or doing something when he contracted this and he passed away. John Prine's in the hospital right now. I mean, how many more of these musicians that rely on touring and gigging and stuff like that are going to get sick and pass away because of this thing, because they had no choice. That's how they made their money, because the record sales aren't there anymore. Album sales, streaming, all that isn't there anymore. And it's a really sad state of affair that, you got these people that are making millions of dollars off of you. You're out there risking your life just to try to put food on the table.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I've kind of like, I kind of gave up on the record label chase a while, because I felt like, after talking to people who were on record labels, those odds are very difficult.
Yeah.
Those odds are very difficult. And it's like, unless you're somebody that's pretty well known, and even if you are somebody that's pretty well known, it's a facade. Those people aren't making anywhere near what they were making in the heyday of record sales,
Sure.
And even worse now, I mean, that thing when I heard Mick Jagger on that economics program on NPR years ago, he was like, even after 81 or 2, we noticed record sales started to decline, and I'm like, man, 81, 82, that was still the thing to do, was buy records. Now, a group like the Stones, they could probably sell a few 100,000 just right off the bat to the diehard fan, but it costs so much money to do an album when you're the Stones. Then you got to recoup that money. I just can't see how they can continue even trying to do it the old way.
Right.
And a lot of them, they're like, well, let's just forget the labels. We'll just do it ourselves. We'll just have Walmart distribute it. And that pisses me off. It's like everybody should have a choice where to buy it from. I'd rather buy it from the artist than Walmart,
Right. Yeah.
But it's just the same old thing, It's like you got to do all these big, huge numbers, and it's just like it's a different game now. I mean, you don't have to sell 200,000 copies of an album and still get dropped. You can sell 2,000 copies and do well.
Sure.
And so, I mean, this is kind of like, this is causing and will continue to cause a musical revolution in the way people view musicians, the way people consume music, the way people go to concerts or not, And I mean, you look at all these tours that have canceled. It's like, it impacts the economies of wherever those tours are happening. I mean, the city of Austin claims they've lost $330 million at least when South by Southwest canceled out. Now, that's a tremendous amount of money.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, they count on that.
Well,
South by Southwest and universities. It's like,
yeah, you pretty much figure that they've probably written a figure in their budget for the last 20 years. Hey, we know we're going to get at least this year out of this. Mm-hmm. And then, the impact on the hotel rooms. I mean, I know sound guys that were like, well, they just went, 2 solid weeks worth of working, 12 hours a day. There just went that. And it's just like, what do you do?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this thing's brought the world to a screeching halt. I mean, you think about even the venues, BOK Center, nothing. I mean, you got this huge building that still costs some money to sit there because you still got to power it. You still got to have some security there. Still probably a mortgage and property taxes. It's just sitting there. And
is it paid? It's paid for, isn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, I remember I got all bent out of shape because I didn't think it was right for the citizens of Tulsa to have to put money in to build that. I didn't think that was right because, it's funded and sponsored by all these big companies. And, I didn't think that was right. But
well, they tried it several times. They, did the Tulsa Project 1 and Tulsa Project 2, where it was just this huge, we're going to have this indoor soccer here, we're going to have this and this. And it got so overbloated because they tried to make everybody happy. And finally, when it came down to it, they said, we need a new convention center, or we need a new arena. And I think there's some shady stuff that went on to get that to happen, because all of a sudden we weren't getting any concerts whatsoever. And we used to get Van Halen and all these big stadium touring acts that would come to the convention center. They play there, and all of a sudden nothing. But as soon as we pass, it says, yes, we will build you a brand new arena. Boom! All of a sudden we started getting concerts again at the convention center. It's like, wait a minute, but it was just my observation.
Well, like the convention center is quite a lot smaller, though. It's 6,000 or 7,000 seats, probably.
Yeah,
and I think those bands like Van Halen, Eric Clapton, the big, huge names that they don't play every pigsty in the States. They play big markets and they get big money. I think it was just always a fact of, well, there's just not a big enough arena in Tulsa to really make it financially viable for some of those people. So they ended up going to, Norman and playing, or going to Oklahoma City and playing. Then, when we got this big BOK center, I was like, well, that's all fine and good, but I don't think the citizens of Tulsa need to be paying for it, because this is like consistently one of the top 10 venues in the nation. They're making money hand over fist. Why does really citizens have to pay for that?
Because look what it did to the economy of downtown and all the other businesses around it. Same thing with moving the ballpark downtown. I mean, it's all the businesses around it, just they profited from it. So, it's just kind of the way business goes. I mean, the big football arenas, same thing. Those cities pay for those stadiums, and when they can't get the city to pay for the stadium, they move the team. So It's just kind of the way the game's played. And the BOK Center has been a great financial boom to Tulsa, so I don't have a problem with it anymore. But yeah, at the time, it's like it just sounded like they were trying to do too much and hit us up for too much fluff when we just really wanted a new stadium. But yeah, it's but you were talking about the fact that the big bands weren't coming here anymore because the arena's too small, even though they came before. Even though in the 80s we had Aerosmith when they came back off permanent vacation. We had David Lee Roth, we had Van Halen, all of them coming to the convention center, had no problem with it. Mm-hmm. Fast forward 10 years, all of a sudden it's too small. You're 10 years older, your record sales aren't as good, but it's too small. Well, that's when you started seeing a shift, though, right? That's when the record sales were going down, so they had to sell more seats, sell more tickets, charge more per ticket.
The first $100 ticket was like what? The Eagles in Dallas in like 2000 or something?
Oh, no, man. $125 when the Eagles got back together in the 90s. It's $125 a ticket.
Okay, yeah.
I remember that.
I remember that. I remember thinking to myself, I would never pay $100 to see anybody.
No, that's like 97, 98 when they got back together. I may be off a little bit.
I'm thinking it might have been even like earlier than that. Maybe
could
like
have been
95 or something.
But yeah, when it said $125, I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, I got ticked off when I had to spend $50 on a ticket. And then,
well, I went to GNR at Texas Stadium, and I saw what $60 bought me in 1992, and I was like, I would have been better off sitting in a parking lot in Ardmore. I probably could have seen better.
True. And not have some drunk dumping his beer all over you, right?
No doubt. I mean, the parking was $10, and I was mad then. I'm like, God, those were the days.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're getting old when we start saying, I remember back when a gallon of gas was $1.25. Well, it's pretty close to $1.25 now, but
yeah, right.
Of course, in Hawaii, I just came back from there, and it was $3.25 a gallon.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just because
is everything else expensive as heck too.
Well, we did the resort thing, so of course you're paying hotel and resort prices, but yeah, it's crazy. So you're kind of holed up there at home. You're not going out. You're just kind of social distancing yourself.
Yeah, you know, I don't mind staying home so much. I've been doing all kinds of projects, you know, working on a garden and trying to straighten this place up a little bit and trying to get all these little ducks in a row, you know, and experimenting with different technology. You know, that's the thing. It's like you're always in a state of change with technology, you know. And
yeah.
You get to where you're scared to even try it, and then you get in there and you try it. It's like, wow, I can see how this could work. Let me go back there and see if I can learn how to do this a little bit better. And then you get used to it, and then all of a sudden the new version comes out. It's like, oh, well, shit, I already, you know, now I got to learn all this stuff all over again. But that's just life and technology, you know.
Sure is.
I mean, I'm kind of like trying to figure out workarounds for all kinds of different things, you know. And so just learning how to do with what you've got, that's kind of like something to be said for that too, you know.
Yeah, well, that's just, this whole thing is going to bring on a big technology experiment, and I think you're going to see every week somebody's trying something different. I mean, even with our church went, well, 2 weeks ago when I played, that was the last one that we actually had the services open. We still had the sanctuary open, but we were broadcasting live, and then we just had an iPhone with some microphones on it, and pulled it off. The next week, the service is even better. This week, geez, you would think they were professional doing the whole Joel Osteen thing. They just knocked it out of the park. They had graphics and all this stuff, and they're just learning how to do this. I said, said on Facebook with remember Terry, right, from my neighbor. Yeah, he's doing the tech for his church, and I was kind of sitting on Facebook, and he's doing the live, and we were trying to troubleshoot stuff like that all through the computer, and it's just it's a whole different way of things are being done these days, and. But yeah, it's the ones that are going to be out there that are providing the content. And I really think that what this is going to do is this is going to separate the boys from the men, for the lack of a better term, you know, the amateurs from the professionals, because there's going to be so much content out there because there's a need for it. People are hungry for it. They can only watch Netflix so much. So new, fresh content. But it's going to be the ones that are going to be consistent. It's going to be the ones that they know that, hey, it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. So-and-so is going to be playing, and then this is going to be going on at this time. So that's why I'm kind of glad. I mean, this is kind of kicking us in the butt to try out some of this technology and try to do it because, you know, before you'd come over, we sit down, shoot 4 or 5 episodes, and then I'd try to get around to editing it. And I really think that, you know, this is going to force us to be more accurate. Force us to be more on time and punctual. You know,
well, you know,
Monday,
it's necessity's the mother of invention, you know. And
exactly.
I kind of called that a couple of weeks ago, and I was just sitting here. I was like, well, I got an idea what we should be doing or what I should be doing, but I'm going to sit back here and watch for a week or so and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, it's about what I expected. There's a ton of people doing a ton of stuff, you know, and you're wondering how long this is going to go on, you know, so. We'll see.
Well, you know, this kind of thing is not for the faint of heart either. It's like it'll be fun and exciting, but it does get rigorous after a while. You and I both know that. And there's going to come a time when they're just going to say, why am I going to spend 2 hours sitting here playing for 6-7 people for just a couple of tips?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you're going to have this big boom, but you're going to see some attrition, especially now that it looks like, we're going into May before things might start looking better. So, I mean,
well, my thinking is like, hey, so let's say your average concert goer, they go to maybe 1 or 2 concerts a month on average. How much do they spend on that? Well, if they're still working, well, all of a sudden now they've got, $1,500 extra dollars over the next 3 months that they could spend in increments of a lot less than it costs to see, Beyonce or whatever it is. And,
but that's also assuming they're not part of the 3 million that filed for unemployment this week either. So
that's true.
You got that to contend with. People aren't driving, but gas is cheap. But it's like people are scared too. When things like this happen, nobody buys anything. They're just getting their 20-pack of Charmin and hunkering down. And
yeah, so, I mean, I always kick myself at times like this, and like, this is the time to, like, when everything's low price, this is the time to buy.
Right.
I mean, this is the time to buy, but I never have the extra money to do anything. And so it's like,
yeah.
The rich get richer and the poor stay poor. It just seems like the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing too. The stimulus check. That the whole hope is that people are going to get that money and that they're going to spend it, so it kind of goes toward the businesses. They're not. They're going to either save it or they're going to use it to pay off debt in case they do lose their job. And we've seen this happen before in 2008. People buying new houses got $8,000 check, and they use it for their closing costs. They didn't pump it into the economy. So
yeah. Well, I mean, in reality, I mean, how far is $1,200 going to take the average American? Is it going to cover 2 months worth of their bills? I don't think it would in most cases.
No.
I mean, most people's mortgage, if they have a mortgage, it's not $190 anymore.
No, it's not. You're not renting a $400 apartment anymore either. So
no way.
It's just I think the plan was that they get it out there and people go out to restaurants, but the problem is now the restaurants are closed. And, you see a lot of this out there, a lot of people, and I really applaud them for it. It's like, hey, help out the local restaurants, help out your local businesses. Even if you're not going to get a gift card from them. Great. Hopefully they'll still be in business when you're ready to use that gift card. Mm-hmm. I really hate to be down about it because I know a lot of people are working really hard to try to make their way through this. And
but the successors are going to be the ones that already have the good crew in place, that are good at managing that crew. Like I saw this place I play up in Nebraska. I think he seats like 80 some people, proper seating for dinner. Mm-hmm. They said they ran like 315 to-go orders the other night. I'm like,
that's great.
This guy knows how to run a business. This guy will survive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the manager who gets on there and spends 2 hours a day cyber begging on Facebook, they're not going to make it.
No. The person I really feel sad for is guys like, what's that, John Tapper that does that bar rescue.
Oh,
he's not going to have any failing bars to rescue after this is over with. They're going to all be gone.
I love watching those shorts. Are hilarious.
Oh, that's crazy. Even what was Hell's Kitchen was that like that too, right? Or Kitchen Nightmares. Yeah.
But, Tapper went to a couple places I played. I loved it.
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, go, man.
Serves you right. That is awesome. All right, man. So what is on tap for you this week? So we're kicking off the week with our podcast. What day are you thinking about going live?
I'm thinking, I might try something, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm not quite too sure. This week, I'm trying to focus on getting these 4 EPs ready to go.
All right. And you're just
So
going to
I've
go
got
digital
that.
release on those?
Yeah, digital release for right now, and we'll see what happens. Because, like I
Well,
said, I'm just trying to just do something that
mm-hmm.
in forward motion, you know.
Yep.
And then so I got the EPs, and then I'm trying to record, you know, just some me and my guitar type stuff live on the floor.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, here's 20 new songs. Here it is. And so it'll serve a couple of purposes in the fact of it's new material.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's going to be like these are kind of going to be versions of songs that, hey, I can play this by myself.
Yeah.
I can send this ahead to a banjo player and we can play it together. I can send this ahead to a band and we can play it together. You know, so it's going to be like a little bit, not quite as much on the instrumental type music.
Okay.
It's more like the songwriter type stuff.
Sure.
Just out of necessity. And so I've been trying to, like, you know, figure out some of these gear issues. What do I need to be work? What needs work? What needs strings? What needs, you know, it's just like, you just go like crazy and things kind of go by the wayside, you know? And it's like, well, hey, I got this piece of gear here. It could really help me if it was working. What do I need to do to get it working?
Nice.
So, you know, just stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm
so
kind of doing the same
you're home
thing.
this whole week?
I am home pretty much. Well, the kids are, of course, school's been canceled. So they are going to start up a kind of an online distance learning thing starting on Monday. So it'll be a lot of the kids on the computers and doing homeschooling kind of stuff. So I probably will be working from home until this is over, at least until summertime. So a minimum of the next 6.5 weeks until the school is over. Then, you know, if daycare opens up or something like that. But
is everybody company working from home, or
yep. They shut the offices down 2 days before I went out of town. So
wow.
that was kind of nerve wracking. It's like, okay, should I be taking this trip or not? And that's when the family and I decided that we're going to self quarantine after we get back anyway. Regardless, we're going to do it before anybody else is even talking about it. It's like we're going to stay home for 2 weeks, and we're not going to, just in case we pick something up on the airplane or pick something up from the hotel or something like that. Just because I don't want to be the one responsible for making anybody sick. You know?
No way.
It's one thing if I decide to take this trip, and if I get ill, okay, it's on me, my bad. But yeah, I don't want to be bringing it. So, you know,
if you would have canceled, would you have gotten any of your money back from the trip? Or
no, because it was the trip was kind of piecemeal together. My wife had a one of those credits. You know, we oversold the plane, $1,000 travel voucher. Well, that was expiring this month. Had to do that. Had to use my miles. I could have got my miles back, but it cost me $200. And
oh yeah, see,
you know, you spend $200 to save $400 an airline ticket. I mean, it makes sense, but then it's like, you know, and we prepaid cash on a lot of the resort stuff too. So
yeah,
what it would have come down to is, well, we'll let you reschedule it, but then you're trying to coordinate this rescheduling of all these different sources. It's like, you know, at the time, like I said, when we left, that day that we left to go on the trip, you know, church service is still open. I went and I played at church. I led worship service and packed up my guitar, went home, got my suitcase, and we were on our way to Dallas. So things weren't peachy keen, but they were not as bad. And it just, the world fell apart when we were there poolside. And
dang.
Yeah, and then, you know, you hear somebody coughing and you're like, oh. You know.
I get kind of creeped out as it is on airplanes anyway.
I tell you, we when we got on the plane, you know, my wife had got all these, you know, industrial sanitizing wipes and things like that. Not your typical Kleenex kind. These are the kinds they use in hospitals. She Amazon the heck out of that stuff. So we got on the plane and we're wiping everything down and stinking up the whole cabin, and people are looking at us funny on the way out there. On the way back, everybody was doing it. Half the flight staff was wearing masks and stuff like that. That's how much things changed just in that 8 days that we were gone. And it's like, yeah. You know, we got to the hotel room. First 45 minutes was just wiping everything down. The walls, the phone, you know, everything. Absolutely everything.
Yeah, that's scary, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but we're feeling good. Nobody's feeling sick. We are at the. Tomorrow will be 8 days since we came back. Tomorrow will be the 8th day. So, figure we got a couple more days of just kind of wait and see. But I don't think there were any problem. But just playing it safe, man.
Yeah.
And like I said,
sorry. And
what I said earlier too. It's like, I don't even know if we're going to want to go out after this is, once we get the all clear next week. And it's like, why risk it, right? We're kind of settling into this thing. We're talking about maybe going camping or something just for a change of scenery, go someplace where there's nobody around. But even the state parks and stuff are closed. So
yeah,
I don't know. Man.
I know, man. It's something else. I've never seen anything like this.
No, none of us have. I mean, 9/11. Sure, in certain parts of the country, Katrina, certainly down there in the Gulf Coast area, but something on this level and worldwide, wow, it's mind-boggling. It just really is. And the fact that there's still people out there denying it too is like, oh, you're killing me for Smalls.
Yeah, they had a couple of clubs on Saturday night that got given a citation for refusing to obey a civil order.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what do you expect?
Well, yeah, the bartender or the owner is just like, well, these people showed up, then they told me it was somebody's birthday, so I bought them all a round of shots. It's like, right, try again.
Right.
Folks. Exactly. And I got a bridge to show you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I wish the best for all the gig and musicians out there that are trying to make a go of it. I myself am going to continue recording, and I got real close to having my EP done. And I think what I'm going to do is when I get ready to throw it out there, I'm going to probably do a Facebook Live CD release party of it.
Yeah, dude.
And I'll put up the Venmo and all that kind of stuff, and probably just raise the money and give it to Red Dirt Relief or something like that. So.
Yeah, man, that sounds good.
Cool. So, and hey, something else we should do? There's a lot of these. I've seen a couple of places like Juilliard and all that where they're doing this remote collaborations on songs and stuff. I'm gonna put together one where, I'll put together the track and then let you guys all you and a bunch of other guitar players contribute to your tracks and we'll piece it all together and have some fun with that too. So.
Oh, that'd be cool. How's your heart feeling?
It's there. I've got the robotic thing going here, but got myself I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got a nice scar here. But
I guess it's not remote control then, huh?
No, not remote control. And it doesn't see black headphone cords very well either.
Yeah. Can you take it off to swim and everything? Did you take it off to swim?
Yeah, I was kind of hesitant at first, but the doctor had given me these bandages, clear plastic and waterproof bandages, and I just covered up with gauze, put this bandage on, and I tell you what, water was not getting in there at all. In fact, I actually had to remember to take them off just so my skin could breathe because they just stuck on that well. So wow. The first couple of days, like it rained, so I didn't do any swimming, but we went off to the Ulani resort. I was able to get out there and swim and stuff. I had to be real careful because I take the brace off, and the whole purpose of the brace is so that my arm doesn't go any more than 30 degrees because basically it tore apart right here. It ripped right out of there. So yeah, they drill and they put the tendon in there and they cinch it all off. It looked
painful, that diagram.
Ooh, yeah. It's like, no wonder they gave me all those drugs. But they're like, oh, we're going to be giving you some opiates. It's like, no, I don't need them. No, we're going to be giving you some opiates. It's like, all right. And they said, you have to take them. He says, you need to take these tonight. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, right.
He says, and you can't sell them. I'm like, all right. But but I was really, they got me out of this a couple of days before we were going to leave. I was able to do that service. They got me out of the splint couple days before I was going to leave. I was able to do that Sunday service, so it's really nice being able to play guitar again. And I could take the brace off while I'm just kind of hanging out at the house. I just got to remember not to pick up anything heavy and stuff. And I don't think my wife likes it too much because I get a little animated in my dreams sometimes, and I think I clocked her in the head with this big old metal thing once or twice. Sorry, dear. But anyway. But yeah, so that's that. It's like it's been a heck of a 2020 already. Wow.
It's so different than what, I watched that one episode where we did, when was that, in December or whatever?
Yes, yeah.
Wait a second. This is not the roadmap we're on right now.
No, so much has changed. It happened so quickly. I mean, we're in such a scramble to get those podcasts for WeirdTulsaMusic.com done, and it's like we kind of set this one on the back burner. It's like I was mixing and editing that down. It's like, wow, yeah, we had all these hopes and dreams for 2020. We're talking about concerts that were going to happen and things we're going to do. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see, because the Crows, I have a feeling the Crows tour might be canceled.
Maybe.
I don't know that for a fact, but, Rocklahoma might be canceled.
Well, Tommy Lee just put out a meme, says, y'all keep your asses at home because I got stuff to do in June. It's like, well, all right. I guess he's still planning on trying to tour.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see.
We will see. All right, well, man, good talk, good chat. Glad to be back behind the mic with you.
Yeah, man, this is cool.
Yeah, we'll give this here internet thing you do, Hickey, a shot and see what kind of technology. We'll give see what happens. Order some,
all right,
some
awesome,
different
man.
mics and things, and I guess until next time, man, we'll try to do this next Monday. But I am your co-host, Mark Allen V, and here's Scott.
I'm Matt Mason.
Hey. Oh my God. I'm still here. There we go.
Oh, man.
And until next time, peace.